Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Did you know that just a 1-second delay in your page load time can actually tank your conversions by a whopping 7%? It's true. If you manage or build for the web, you've definitely felt the pain of slow, insecure, dynamic websites. You know the drill, right? Pages that take absolutely forever to load, servers just completely crashing during a traffic spike, and that constant nagging worry in the back of your mind about security vulnerabilities. Well, today, we're going to look at how Gatsby emerges as the ultimate high-performance solution to those exact problems. It's completely redefining how we think about static websites in an era where speed and efficiency are just absolutely paramount for both user experience and your search engine rankings. We're doing a full engine teardown today. Here's our roadmap. We'll start with what Gatsby actually is, cover its core principles, take a peek under the hood, walk through the developer workflow, and finally, look at the big Gatsby payoff.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1. What exactly is Gatsby?
So, to really get Gatsby, we first have to understand the concept of static site generation. Think of it kind of like a pre-cooked meal. With a traditional dynamic website, when a user visits a page, the server essentially cooks the meal from scratch right then and there. It fetches data, processes the logic, and builds the HTML on the fly. Static site generation completely flips that model on its head. Instead of doing all that heavy lifting when the user actually arrives, all the necessary data is compiled at build time. The framework creates these pre-rendered HTML files that just sit there, waiting as static assets. Because it's already pre-cooked, so to speak, it is instantly ready to be served the literal second someone clicks a link.
Which brings us right to Gatsby itself. Gatsby is this wildly popular open-source framework built on top of React, and it uses GraphQL for managing its data. What it does brilliantly is let developers pull in content from virtually anywhere. We're talking simple markdown files, headless CMS platforms, third-party APIs, you name it. It gathers all of this completely disparate data, runs it through that static generation process we just talked about, and spits out clean, pre-rendered HTML. And the result? A massive reduction in load times and a lightning-fast experience for the end user.
Moving right along to Section 2, Core Principles.
Gatsby's whole philosophy is built on 3 massive pillars. First up is performance. By default, Gatsby sites are highly optimized. Because the HTML is pre-generated, the browser displays it almost instantaneously. It even handles things like prefetching resources behind the scenes without you having to ask. Second is scalability. Imagine your business suddenly goes viral overnight. Traditional servers might completely melt down, but Gatsby relies on a content delivery network, or a CDN, to serve its static files. This means thousands of users around the globe can access your site at the exact same time without straining a single central server. And third, security. Because these files are static, there are simply no dynamic processes running on a server for hackers to exploit.
Think about a traditional dynamic site for a second. It's constantly running server-side processes. That means every single database query is a potential open window for things like SQL injections or cross-site scripting attacks. Now compare that to the Gatsby Shield. Because the entire build process happens completely separately from the live hosting environment, there is no exposed database on the public web. There are no exposed credentials, none of it. You're just serving flat, pre-rendered static assets, which means your attack surface is drastically minimized.
Okay, let's get into the fun stuff. Section 3, Under the Hood.
So Gatsby doesn't try to reinvent the wheel when it comes to user interfaces. It leans heavily on React, and that gives developers some massive advantages. First, component reusability. Developers can build these neat, modular pieces of UI and just reuse them across the site, which speeds up development and keeps things visually consistent. But here's the real magic trick. Even though the site is fundamentally static, React still allows for dynamic client-side interactivity. That means your static components can still update dynamically when a user clicks or inputs something, without ever needing a full-page reload. Plus, it taps into React's ability to handle complex state management right there in the user's browser.
Now, the other half of this engine is GraphQL. Think of GraphQL as the ultimate data translator and router. It acts as one unified data layer, so whether your content is sitting in an SQL database, a headless CMS, or coming in live from some third-party API, GraphQL just funnels all of it through one single unified interface. Developers don't have to write a bunch of completely different logic to fetch data from different sources. They literally just ask GraphQL for it.
But it's not just about keeping things centralized. It's about being incredibly efficient. GraphQL fetches only the exact data required for each specific component. So if a component only needs the title and date of a blog post, GraphQL isn't going to download the entire 1,000-word article text. This tailored data fetching prevents those bloated network transfers. It makes the build process dramatically faster, and it gives developers the ultimate flexibility to specify exactly what information needs to go where.
So, how does this actually look in practice? Section 4, Developer Workflow.
The developer workflow in Gatsby is really highly structured and incredibly smooth. Step 1 begins with setup using the Gatsby command line interface, the CLI, which basically scaffolds out the project for you. Step 2, the developer uses React to build those reusable UI components, styling them, making them accessible. Step 3 is data integration. This is where they write those super precise GraphQL queries to pipe the content directly into the React components. And finally, step 4 is build and deploy. The Gatsby build command churns through everything, generates those static HTML files, and then those files are deployed directly to modern hosting platforms like Netlify, Vercel, or AWS.
And here's the kicker. While developers are doing their thing, Gatsby is doing some serious heavy lifting in the background. It features automated optimization, especially when it comes to assets. For example, Gatsby has this incredibly robust image handling. Right at build time, it'll automatically resize your images, compress them, and convert them into modern, ultra-fast formats like WebP. This means peak performance is just built directly into the workflow. It's not an afterthought. And hey, if you need something specific, Gatsby boasts a massive, extensible plugin library created by its open-source community. You can add almost any functionality you can imagine.
Which brings us to our final section, number 5, the Gatsby payoff.
The payoff from migrating to Gatsby is absolutely immense, and it really hits 3 distinct areas. First, for the user and the business side, those pre-rendered pages mean instantaneous load times, which directly improves user retention. And because the pages are fully formed HTML, search engines can index them effortlessly, which is a massive boost for your SEO. Second, for the engineering team, using modern tools like React and GraphQL just creates a highly productive, genuinely enjoyable developer experience. And third, from a sustainability standpoint, Gatsby is backed by a huge open-source community, so you're guaranteed constant updates, thousands of plugins, and really active support.
Now, you might be wondering, do we have to completely ditch our current content management system to use this? And the answer is a resounding no. Whether your writers are super comfortable in a traditional CMS like WordPress or Drupal, or maybe you use a modern headless option like Contentful, Gatsby seamlessly integrates with all of them via GraphQL. You get to keep your existing content workflow while completely upgrading your front-end performance. It's a win-win.
As we wrap things up, it's really crucial to remember this concept. Gatsby isn't just some static site generator in the traditional old-school sense of the word. Because it integrates so deeply with React, it is a true hybrid solution for modern web development. You're getting all the security, speed, and SEO benefits of static generation, but it's beautifully paired with the rich, interactive, dynamic experiences that users have come to expect from modern web apps.
So I want to leave you with this final question to think about. Take a hard look at your own architecture today. Is your current website dynamically cooking every single meal from scratch, leaving you vulnerable to traffic spikes and security threats? Or is it pre-rendered for the future? By leveraging React and GraphQL, high-performance hybrid solutions like Gatsby are undoubtedly paving the path forward for the web. Thanks so much for exploring this architecture with us today, and hopefully, this explainer gives you a clear roadmap for what's really possible with modern static site generation.